Number one, actually, the New York Giants over the New England Patriots. Now, February 3rd, 2008, Super Bowl 42.
I vaguely remember.
Yeah. But for me, the reason why I have this number one is because the Patriots, 16-0. They were 18-0 total, winning two their playoff games at home over the Jaguars, Jacksonville Jaguars and the San Diego Chargers. But this Patriots team was ordained. They were ordained as 19-0, as the perfect team. Pretty much the Miami Dolphins of the 72 Dolphins, pretty much, ordained them as the team that will shine and be most memorable. And the Giants also, they struggled to get into the playoffs actually a little bit.
They beat the Bills.
Until they beat the Bills, yeah. And then also they had a great game in which Tom Coughlin made a great decision to play the starters and play to win, even though they had a playoff spot already against New England. And then they were road warriors, winning road games. So, but I had that as number one.
I didn't have that, and we've talked about this before, for the simple reason I am a Giants fan. And after watching the Patriots game and watching them go to Dallas and beat Dallas and go to Green Bay, and I don't want to say dominate the game because the game went into overtime, but they outplayed Green Bay pretty significantly in that NFC title game, I thought. I thought they had a pretty good chance going in. That's why, I understand in a historical perspective it's an upset, but going into the game, I felt relatively confident that it would be a really close game. But I wasn't stunned when they won. I was stunned on the Tyree catch, but I wasn't, and I was stunned that they held them to 14 points. But I wasn't stunned that they won the game.
But the duration time, you would think Belichick would be able to find a way to, and of course, great teams, great Super Bowl teams have found a way, like the '85 Bears, the '86 Giants, the '84 49ers, the Cowboys teams in the early '90s. Like the great teams found a way to destroy,
to dominate their
opponents. So that's what made it an upset.
I think also I apologize for interrupting. Those teams were intimidated going in. The Patriots against the Bears were intimidated going in. The Bills already had been demoralized by the time they had played the Cowboys by losing to the Giants and the Redskins.
I don't think so. Not the first time.
They weren't. No, I'm not saying that they were demoralized playing the Giants, but after losing to both of these, I don't think in their minds they thought they were going to win that game. At least the second Super Bowl. I think the Giants legitimately believed they were going to win that game going against.
Oh, no question. But New England was obviously the better team and a more consistent team as well.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And then actually that leads kind of my number three because I have New England as my number three upset. In 2001, I believe they were 1-3. They were one of the worst teams. They lost their first two games, I believe, by a 75-10 score or something like. I remember joking with a friend of mine that they were one of the worst teams I'd ever seen. And then Bledsoe gets knocked out.
Yeah.
And this guy, Brady, comes in, and they somehow make the playoffs. They win the Tuck Rule game out of nowhere.
Yeah, against the Raiders, which we could say that
it's a tough call. It's an amazing call to make. It was the right call, but it's not the right call, I think, within the realm of the game. By the rules, it's the right call, but I don't know if it's a call you really make.
No, I always saw that as a fumble. Yeah, I always saw it as a fumble.
That's fine. Vinatieri kicks a 45-yard field goal into a snow so bad that you can barely see the uprights. And then they go to Pittsburgh, and what happens? Brady gets knocked out. Bledsoe comes in, leads them to the win, and then they beat the greatest show on turf, who are the dynasty waiting to happen.
Yeah, the Rams.
On Vinatieri again, and that I thought was an incredible.
Robin Soderlund. Swedish guy, that's a Swedish tennis player that is rising up the ranks. He's in the top 10 right now. And he defeated Rafael Nadal, who had a ridiculous streak at the French Open.
He never lost.
Yeah, never lost the French Open. 31 straight matches. And he only had one defeat on clay. That was the Roger Federer the year before. In the entire time of his entire career. And the fourth round victory by Soderling over Rafael Nadal on May 31st, 2009 was very significant, I think. And definitely it was significant for Federer to finally win.
He didn't have to play Nadal.
He didn't have to play Nadal. But he did defeat Soderling. Yeah. He did defeat the guy. He beat the man. He beat the man.
Exactly.
We both had the Greece soccer team.
2004 European Championship out of nowhere, beating, I believe, France, and then they beat Portugal in the final, led by Luis Figo and Cristiano Ronaldo. They were outshot 10-1. But the one goal went in. It was just a shocking result. And I mean, the other thing that we probably should mention is the Tampa Bay Devil Rays in 2008, never having even been 500 in a season, and going to the World Series.
World Series, yeah.
Beating the Red Sox in Game 7, with David Price. I mean, who was a rookie. He was a rookie. He was a senior in college, I think, at the beginning of the season. And he was the one that closed it out.
Yeah, and it's crazy, too, because the Devil Rays, all those top picks, those top 5 picks of B.J. Upton, Evan Longoria, David Price, all those guys
Even Rocco
came
Baldelli.
through. Yeah, came through,
Yeah.
which is very interesting. So, now, and of course I had an honorable mention, Hassan Rahman over Lennox Lewis. We know how the punch hurt around the world in 2001.